Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach Jeff Copper, and we're here to talk about those with ADHD and their calling to intellectualize things. So often they'll go out and they'll read a book or go to a webinar or listen to a tip, and they study those types of things and they think about it intellectually. They like to learn, but quite frankly, it really doesn't do much for them to learn. They actually have to go get into action in order to make that happen. I find that this is an interesting barrier for those with ADHD. And one of the things that I've learned over the years in interviewing many experts, particularly Dr. Barkley, talks about you have your brain, the back half of your brain right here is the knowledge part of your brain. It's the filing cabinet. When you go to school, information is transferred into here. Your prefrontal cortex, the front part, is about taking the information in the back and organizing it, manipulating, and executing it. And that's the area those with ADHD have difficulty with. And so they read a lot and intellectualize and they keep it back here, but they don't actually necessarily apply it. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is that if you're going to apply anything, it takes trial and error. Take, for example, years ago I tried to learn to play the guitar, or was trying to. I certainly could read the books and intellectualize in the back part of my brain what I should be doing, but it wasn't until I actually put my fingers on the strings, like in a D chord, and strummed them and got it wrong, and did it again and did it again and did it again until I got the D chord right, and all the other subsequent chords. And I'm bringing this up because all too often those with ADHD are reading and intellectualizing, but you actually have to go do it at some point in time. And it's very much a trial and error process. Those with ADHD struggle a little bit more to use their working memory and think through some things, and in that process they need to externalize, they need to make it public, and they need to make it happen. So if you have ADHD and you're reading all the books and going to all the seminars, and you're not really moving forward, pause and ask yourself, am I really getting this into action, or am I just intellectualizing? Because if you are, you need to get into action. Now, one of the key things about getting into action is to realize if you begin to think about everything that won't go right, I can guarantee you you'll be paralyzed. Sometimes you actually have to go out there and actually do it to realize that it's a little different from what you thought, or brainstorm with somebody about how you can actually accomplish what you're going to do in a different way. Let me give you an example of that. Many of those I coach, they're called verbal processors. They think out loud. In other words, not to talk is not to think. And they think, I can't just go up to somebody and talk out loud to them. Well, you can if you really think about it. If you just do something as simple as go up to somebody and say, hey, listen, do you mind if I talk out loud for a minute to organize my thoughts? Notice if you do that and they give you permission to do so, then it's okay. And if they go, well, no, then it's not okay to do so. But the point really is that all too often they'll say, I can't do this, and they don't really think about how they can adjust the environment to that. So anyway, the point of this really video is, if you're watching this, is to realize is that if you have ADHD and you're reading and learning a lot of information about it, it's really not about the intellectual side, it's actually about going out and doing it. So if you struggle with that, you should work with somebody or go find somebody that can actually put you into action, because after all, that's what will move you forward. Maybe not in the way that you think to, but many times you're doing it, it's like an experiment and you learn something, maybe that doesn't work, but what will? So, in summary, stop intellectualizing, start paying attention to what you can do to actually apply this stuff. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for this tips and many more on a weekly basis. Hope you enjoyed the show.